Welcome to the training crew. What a week. Week one of the 3-week block leading into the 2 big sessions at the end there. Little opportunity to have a little chitty chat around the fuck I was doing there. Little rolling. Now, jury's out on rolling and stretching as being a good or bad thing to do, I guess. However, I do think it's a great opportunity to promote a little bit of movement after some big heavy training sessions. So coming into this next 3 to 5 weeks of training, I need to, for me, be mindful of ways to make my body feel good after eating it up with everything I'm doing. Rolling, stretching, easy to do. Those easy to do, easy not to do kind of things, that kind of thing you can do 5 minutes every fucking morning, 10 minutes after a big training session, but we all choose to be a bit lazy and not do it. This stuff's good. Do a little bit of it. For me, walking, love just get down and go for a walk, get the stretch on. So today, Sunday, we went to the shops. Easy way, trudge around the shops for a couple of hours, get some steps in, getting that count up. Great way to feel good after some big squats yesterday. Now to talk about the training that was last week, coming into next week. It was boring on purpose. On purpose boring. Mid-range numbers, nothing super exciting. Those things do set up the following weeks, which is good, but knowing that 255 ain't meant to be heavy, ain't meant to be crazy and bad. I don't need to get after it and get silly. I just need to work on technique and my position, that being more of a priority. So a lot more cautious, I guess, or not hesitant, just cautious in my setup, a little bit less aggressive to make sure I'm doing everything perfect in how I move the weight. There was a little bit of internal debate around what would be the best way to go about the rep scheme for this next few weeks, and it came to me at the comp we pull singles, so in training I should just pull singles. A great way to just practice the actual process of getting ready to compete, the chalk bowl, the things I'm thinking about or not thinking about, the setup on the actual barbell itself, pulling that big single, locking that thing out, thinking about all the good things that are going to happen in the coming weeks, how everything's going to move, put it back down, repeat the effort, go again. Some things I wanted to consider for it, being I'm only pulling singles, being it's only 255, I do not need to be a fat lazy powerlifter and rest for ages between sets. I was hitting the single, turned over 2.5, 3 minutes, going again. They all felt great. There were some chats around accessories and what to do next. Got some videos. We'll talk through that and how we went, and we hit some squats. Body's feeling great. Really looking forward to the next couple of weeks ahead. 3, 2, 1. Boom! Overhead military press on a Smith machine. Feel like I'm 18, 19 again, banging away in a 51st. Just need my string singlet and weigh about 40 kilos less body weight. Probably have no weight on the bar, but how much fun is this exercise? Pressing day. Mate, I've been doing some standing overhead pressing for the last couple of training blocks. Quite happy with the way that landed. Time to mix it up. Thought I'd take advantage of that super cool Smith machine we got there at Fortitude Barbell. We'll just add some weight, keep the sets and reps coming over the next coming weeks and see where it lands on that. Medium grip bench press. We're mucking around with some grips for this next few weeks. Moved into that medium grip, some more of that sort of pinky on the ring for me. I do find we can keep the shoulder retracted in a bit of a nicer position there, and I picked 80 kilos as a nice place to start. Felt about right, not too fast where we finish up with this. Each week we'll just jump a few kilos. Pulled up pretty well from that. We'll keep this bench in there just because we can. How good are those shorts? Oh, big dog lifting, the fun stuff, ladies and gentlemen. 255 kilos session was planned out to hit singles. Singles give me tingles. Why singles? Like we said at the start of this thing, we pull one on comp day, so I thought simply I should just pull singles. 5 singles to make sure I got enough work in there. Did enjoy the mental challenge of having to get up 5 different times, prepare for moving the weight, because it is only 255 and not quite where I want to be for the big heavy stuff. In a few weeks, I felt like I didn't need to get elevated, too high, too animated, too excited, too aroused for moving the big weight, down, regulating that a little bit so I could prioritize positional stuff. Being mindful I don't want to be a crazy, silly JonnyBad where I'm headbutting, screaming and yelling at things and just forgetting how to move this nicely. So this week gave me the opportunity to, for lack of a better word, dial that in. Being as close to perfect as possible for myself. Positionally, I am quite happy with it. Knee is feeling good, touch wood, with all the rehab and recovery work we're doing for it, so I can get into that good position. So yeah, coming into next week, the goal is to get 20 kilos. I do feel we've moved good enough that a 3x1 at 275 next week should not be an issue. That we're not from Kevy, I think he agrees with that one. It was a funny one. 255, moving quite nice. I think we got our last set here. I'm thinking about absolutely launching this thing. How light will this feel in a few weeks' time when it is essentially nothing more than a warm-up? Coach Kendra, yo, she is happy. Now, most important, I do need to add some back-off work in here. I like to use for the back-off work some skill stuff. I've been doing a lot of pause just off the ground for these deadies, so I thought we should change it up and add another pause. That other pause is just above the knees, right in a lockout position, allowing me to continue to practice positional stuff. I think we're doing enough of this stuff when it comes to game day and moving the big weight. I've done so much practice, it'll just be subconsciously sitting in there, and my body and my mind will make good decisions and put myself in good spots. What we did here, we did stand up between each rep. Done that deliberately. I do feel when you're just banging sets and reps, you do fall out of position. Standing up each time allows me to reset myself completely, physically and mentally, for each rep, putting myself into that position I want to be practicing at. And that's why we went for that standard in between each rep. A good little training trick that anyone could be throwing in there. I'm self-assessing after each rep where I'm at and what I need to do a little bit better at for the following rep. Here we go. One more back down exercise. I've added some conventional in. I do like the conventional pulling. I want to keep that here all the way through this training run. I've ended a band work so we can work on a bit of speed and acceleration with the barbell off the floor. The things I do find is an interesting concept here. Conventional is obviously a closer stance in my sumo. However, I can still practice the things that are important for my sumo. That is pushing through the floor evenly through my feet, retracting those shoulders and building maximum tension off the ground for when I do push through the ground. So those are the things that I'm thinking about here. I'm quite sure that that will carry over quite nicely into my sumo when needed. I'm curious about the conventional though. It is feeling strong. Wonder what it could be. Boom. A little out of recovery time. FB's got a sauna. We jumped in here for a little bit this week and had a little sauna. Here we go. 3 readies. We got ourselves the bent bar, camber bar. Been a long time since I've used this one. So warming up, I guess I wouldn't say I was cautious, but constantly thinking about how it felt, what it was doing to my body, and what I need to do a little bit better at. Reasons for jumping on this bar, quite simple. I wanted to keep the low bar squatting for this last bit of the training block. However, elbow shoulder is getting a little beat up from knee wrapping for the crew coming into Worlds. And I do know this camber bar does make things feel a little bit nicer on those parts of my body. So we hit the camber bar, as you can see in my unrack there. I'm still trying to work it out. Got the pin height completely fucking wrong. Watch my little unrack. Man, nice depth, nice speed. Happy with that. Oops. Thank you, Shelley, for saving me. Hit a single here first up on the 3 reds. I wanted to just see how it felt before I kind of decided what I'd be doing next with it. Figured 3 reds felt great. That was kind of the right weight for the day. I was now thinking some reps would be important for the rest of the session, so we hit 2 sets of 3. Boom, first rep, quite nice. Second rep coming up. Nilesh in the back. If you watched the videos last week, Nilesh messed up the gate. He learnt from that, and he's done very well with the gate this week. Thank you, Nilesh. One more rep. Happy with how these move. I will say with the weight, it felt like it was sitting a little bit in front of me with how I was holding the bar. and that was throwing me around a little bit, so I was taking a little bit to figure out. I do feel by the third set I got it kind of sorted. Starting to think about what I'll be doing this next week. I do plan to progress this one somewhere between sort of 5 to 10 kilos over the coming 2 weeks would be about right. However, deadlifts being a priority, if I am coming in beat up and buggered and sore from that deadlift session, we'll just scale it accordingly. Someone did ask me how the bar felt strength-wise versus the low bar. Tricky one. I will say maybe 5-10 kilos heavier. That's how it felt than what a low bar did. My best low bar squat's 225. I probably feel like I'm sitting around about that at the moment, maybe a touch more. Unracking this thing, feeling how it moves, and for the threes, I do think maybe I could land myself around a 210, 215. So maybe, yeah, whatever a percentage that works out to be, 10, 15 kilos heavier is how it kind of felt. So I'll keep that in the back of my mind so I'm not sort of redlining myself and accumulating too much fatigue on this. But again, quite happy with how these moved. Pulling up from this session, I was stoked. I was a little bit sore, but not ruined. So I do know that I got the balance right with how much work we put into this session. Definitely could have hit more reps, but definitely didn't need them. Accessory, I wanted an accessory exercise. I wanted to keep some beltless stuff in there, like I have this whole prep. Push squats with some chains, forcing me to be more forceful. I did feel a lot of hamstrings and glutes pushing out of the hole here, which was the kind of the goal. I know that will carry over nicely into the sumo, that powerfulness that is coming from that. And accessory wise, now to be honest, all of that camber bar squatting had fuck all volume in it. Singles, triples, nothing too much there for volume wise. Body's beat up. I got this cool toy here called the belt squat, a great way to get some volume in through these pennies, these legs. I've got 2 wheels on there per side this thing. I feel like it loads similar to around 100 kilos. The pendulum motion pulls you forward a little bit, but you do get to squat pretty similar to how I would squat with a bar on my shoulders. So we're hitting some 10, 12 reps here. So we bust out a few sets of this, so that kind of, for me, ticks my bucket list of hitting some sets, hitting some higher rep work, getting some blood flow through these leggies after doing the heavier stuff. We'll keep that in there. Thanks, crew. Talk to you soon.